Hi, I'm Tony Rossi for The Christophers, and today I'll be joined by ABC News correspondent Adrienne Bankert, discussing how kindness has been the key factor in her personal and professional success, and how all of us can more intentionally practice kindness in our own lives. Stay with us. Christopher Close-Up starts right now. Hello and welcome to Christopher Close-Up. I'm Tony Rossi, and my guest today is ABC News reporter and Good Morning America correspondent Adrienne Bankert. For many years now, Adrienne has made the practice of kindness not just a conscious choice in her life and career, she's made it a part of her identity, and that has made all the difference in the world. Her life is richer and more fulfilling because she's always looking to make positive connections with other people. Adrienne believes that we can all incorporate kindness's life-changing power into our lives, and she has now shared her insights in the book, Your Hidden Superpower, the kindness that makes you unbeatable at work and connects you with anyone. To tell us more, I'm pleased to welcome to Christopher Close-Up, Adrienne Bankert. Adrienne, it's so great to have you on the show today.
Tony, thanks so much for making time. I appreciate it.
Now, I really enjoyed reading Your Hidden Superpower, and one of the things about it is that the topic is kindness, and kindness is one of those things in life that everybody praises it, but I think its deep value can be overlooked or underestimated. How did you come to see kindness as a superpower?
Well, it was interesting because it wasn't my idea to write a book on kindness. It was my mentor's idea. He said, you should write a book on kindness. You have a different perspective. And so I had been working my entire career, essentially, to be more kind in the industry that I'm in. And I see it as something in any high pressure environment. People can get testy, tempers can flare, people can communicate with less kindness. And so I would watch, I'm one of 7 kids.
Wow.
So I've been watching people and studying the differences in personalities since I was a child. It's just something that's inherently in me. And I would say, listen, I watch people who were really kind or conscientious, and they seem to provide that calm that helped all the parts work better together. And I thought, what if we all really were intentionally kind every time we showed up? That when we get to work, it's not just about doing the job, but it's for a greater purpose. It's for connection. And then ideally people feel better when working with you. So that's just one element of the power behind kindness. But I got one of my first major breaks, or rather I say my more recent breaks in the business. I've been wanting to be on national TV forever. And I got the job because of my reputation for kindness in my local television career.
Wow, that is great. That is incredible. I'm talking to Adrienne Bankert. Her book is Your Hidden Superpower, the kindness that makes you unbeatable at work and connects you with anyone. Your advice in the book is to make kind part of your identity. And since we're on Catholic radio, let me just phrase it in a bit of a spiritual term. This is a book that is for a general audience, for people of all faiths. But, I think essentially when I was reading it, I kind of took the advice that following the things you say in this book about making kindness part of our identity, it's also, we could interpret it, people of faith could interpret it as, becoming the people God intended us to be. How do you work that into how does being kind make you, really the person you're supposed to be or the best version of yourself?
Yeah, I call kindness, your kind self, your best or your highest version of self. It's the person that your parents always wanted you to grow up to be. It's the person that your grandparents wanted you to marry, the kind person, It's what we want all of our nurses and our doctors to be. We want them to be kind. We remember them. It's like anybody who's talented, once you find out they're kind as well, they go from good to great. Yeah. And I see kind as being inherently in our DNA. It's that life makes unkind events happen. Life can be very unkind.
Sure.
Disappointments can affect us and crush us and emotionally stunt our growth. Kindness is who we are if nothing bad had happened, in a sense, to me. And I think that it's the essence of us. I think it's in our DNA. And my aha moment came when I realized if we would embrace kindness as our identity, then our knee-jerk response in conversations and in life would be a picture of that true identity. We would respond in a knee-jerk way to kind thoughts, kind events, kind motions. So if somebody is having a moment and comes at us in a certain way that is antagonistic or angry or frustrated, we would be less quick to fire back or retaliate or get revenge. We would actually keep the peace. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I think that the world right now is asking for people, demanding really for people to be kind under pressure.
Okay.
And the world is so pressurized right now. So how do we do this without making it a to-do list? Mm-hmm. We become kind. Instead of doing kindness, we literally are kind.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, just talking about kindness being second nature, one of the things I was struck by in reading Your Hidden Superpower is that throughout the book, you share stories. You don't just thank people who have been kind to you. You sometimes see acts of kindness on the street and you will run after people to say thank you for doing that act of kindness. What made you start doing that? What does that do for you and for the other person?
You know, when I notice people or when, I'm walking by people, I see them as part of this extended human family. Mm-hmm. And when I see them do a kind act, it's so refreshing. And you're so like hopeful, saying, wow, there are so many good people in this world, but they're never going to get on TV. They're never going to be on a stage doing this kind thing. It's done in secret. Mm-hmm. And I, being in media, think about what if that person did have a greater stage? What if more people knew about it? My analogy or my mission in life is to make kindness famous.
Yeah.
And
that's great.
I tell people who are doing kind things, thank you for doing that for them. That was really kind, because I want them to know that what they're doing works and that other people do notice them. Because the truth is we do notice them. Yeah. It's just that a lot of times we don't go up and say so. Mm-hmm. But what if we did? What if we encouraged people who were the kind people? Then they'd become kindness heroes and they would be more prone to continue in that good work that we need more of us to do.
Yeah. It's like a ripple effect. If you thank them, it'll stick in their minds longer and it'll be an ongoing thing.
Exactly.
I'm Tony Rossi. You're listening to Christopher Close Up. I'm talking to ABC News' Adrienne Bankert. Her book is called Your Hidden Superpower, The Kindness That Makes You Unbeatable at Work and Connects You with Anyone. And as I was reading the book, I was happily surprised that you give a shout out to one of our common friends, Eddie Luisi, the stage manager at GMA. Tell us a little bit about Eddie, and let's give him a little credit and how he made your day once, and even in general when you're on Good Morning America.
Yeah, when I first started working at ABC News, I thought, does everybody go to Disneyland or Disney World and get trained for being nice? Because people were very, smiley and they were friendly, and I mean that's my experience. I just saw a lot of people who would seem approachable and welcoming, and Eddie is one of them. I mentioned in the book, he has forgiveness tattooed on one arm, and he has, I think,
blessed.
It blessing? Yeah, or blessed on the other arm. Yeah. And so he is one of our stage managers. So he points to your camera, and I would recognize that whenever he'd point, he would show that arm, and you'd be confronted with these words.
Yeah.
And so I just thought, this guy was thinking, that's something that he did to maybe encourage himself, but obviously it encourages other people. Who doesn't need some good to come to them, and who doesn't need forgiveness? I mean, really.
Sure.
But one day I noticed that he was I don't know that he was tired. Maybe it was me. Maybe I thought I was tired and I saw him as tired, but I didn't see that peppiness that I usually see. But he was always giving people so much good energy and just being really a light. And I said, hey, how you doing? Good morning. In efforts to remind him that I know that sometimes it's hard, but that he's such a firebrand of sweet, enthusiasm. Mm-hmm. And he started singing, Amazing Adrienne, how sweet the sound, to the tune of Amazing Grace. But he put my name in there, and I thought, that made me feel so good. First of all, I like singing. Second of all, that he would sing to me. Mm-hmm. And even with, the long hours and the early mornings, he would still take the time to be kind.
Yeah. And
that's what we need. We need people who say, it's hard to be kind to everybody. I've had that come to me a few times this week. And I say, well, it's also hard to work out. They'll do it. If you want the results, if you know the results, then you will still go to the gym, right now, a lot of us can't go to the gym, but if you'll still make the effort to go on a walk, to go bicycling, to lift weights, because you know it's a benefit to you. For me, kindness is my fitness plan.
Wow, that is a great line. That is a great meme that should go around.
Yeah.
Maybe you've used it already, but it's a good one.
Thank you. I'm going to put it on a shirt.
I'm talking to Adrienne Bankert of ABC News and Good Morning America. She's an Emmy Award-winning reporter. She's covered major stories like the rescue of the Thailand cave rescue of 13 boys and their soccer coach, of Prince Harry and Meghan's wedding. She's interviewed all kinds of superstars, from Harrison Ford to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And just in your story about Eddie before, you mentioned the song Amazing Grace. And there's a story you share in the book about your encounter with Garth Brooks on the set, which is another story of kind of the kindness theme. Tell us about that moment with Garth Brooks and what it taught you about kindness.
Well, it was just interesting because I, move through life pretty, nimbly. I'm always doing different things and always going different directions. And so it's like, you have to kind of be ready for anything. And I was walking out of the green room area, and here's Garth just strumming his guitar in the hallway. And there's some part of his entourage, and people are walking back and forth. I'm thinking, why isn't anybody capturing, this is Garth Brooks strumming his guitar in the hallway. Now, I knew he was getting ready to do an interview with Robin Roberts on stage, but we were back behind the stage, and I just thought people would appreciate that. So I took my phone out and I started recording. Mm-hmm. I didn't think about it. I literally just did it. And then somebody saw me and they said, do you want to be in a picture with him? And I said, oh, that'd be cool. I said, is that okay with you, Garth? And he said, yes. And then someone said, it's a video. And I was like, oh. And he says, and I think Garth said, what are we going to sing? And I said, and I actually, named a song, and we started singing together. And afterwards, I realized that when you're kind, you're not thinking about, necessarily strategy, but there is a strategy to it, where your boldness allows you to have experiences or interactions that somebody who would be a little more hesitant or in their head wouldn't even think could happen. Because again, I was not thinking about it. It was just this boom. And afterwards, one of the producers contacted me and said, hey, Garth wants your video. I said, oh. And he said, yeah, he wants to post it on his Facebook channel. So he posted it on Facebook. I think it was like 10,000 times or something. And he said, thank you, Adrienne. You got a great voice. And I just thought the fact that he would be kind to share his time, to make time in the hallway, to sing a song. Then I sang a duet with him, which I didn't plan on, but I just started singing with him. Then to post it and say thank you and give me a shout out was so kind. And, the thing is, a lot of us don't know how we're going to get from point A to point B, or how we're going to meet somebody. And yes, I know I work at Good Morning America, but the fact is that you will be more bold to be authentic, to be who you really are. There was no facade. There were no, there were no airs going on. I wasn't acting a certain way to just impress somebody or get on his social media bandwagon. There was none of that. And I think that the world is looking for people who are real and genuine. And genuinely care. And his song, people were posting comments saying, that brought me to tears. Thank you. I needed to hear this today. I needed to see this today. You don't know how your bold authenticity will actually allow for other people to be encouraged and to give them some tenacity and strength and a lift that they need in their day.
Yeah. And I mean, it's also on something you touch on in your Hidden Superpower. It can help people who are shy or lonely or introverted. Acting kind can bring them out into a greater sense of community, right?
Yes, because everybody, I really believe this. I wrote the book for men and women. My hope was that, and it's happened. I love seeing the comments from both men and women, because every person on the planet needs a tribe, needs to feel like they belong somewhere. And when you're kind, you could open up a door to a friendship that you didn't even know was there.
Yeah.
And that can help you feel like you found your place. There's a confidence in knowing there are people who get you. And kindness can initiate friendship. I talk about how I'll make friends with people on planes or on the street. I'll hand them my business card. I'll exchange Instagram handles with them so we can start a connection, because I truly believe that when we're brought into certain spaces, they're 1 in a million opportunities. What are the chances that I meet this particular person at the deli or at work or on a plane or walking my dog. It's like in that moment, at that time, on that day, I met so-and-so. Let's not despise that. Let's not think light of that. Maybe, just maybe, this was meant to be.
Yeah, it's really just opening you up to the opportunities around you. It's living consciously. So that's a great observation. I'm Tony Rossi. You're listening to Christopher Close-Up. I'm talking to Adrienne Bankert. She's an Emmy Award-winning reporter and correspondent with ABC News and Good Morning America. But her book is called Your Hidden Superpower, The Kindness That Makes You Unbeatable at Work and Connects You with Anyone. There is a website, yourhiddensuperpower.com. And if you want to find Adrienne on social media, Instagram and Twitter, she's at AB on TV. And when I was reading Your Hidden Superpower, I was reminded of something a previous guest of mine said. It was Jeannie Gaffigan. She's the wife of comedian Jim Gaffigan. She endured a brain tumor surgery a while back. And she said, live your day in gratitude because gratitude makes you kind. Where does gratitude fit into the kindness theme you're writing about in Your Hidden Superpower?
I love that. It's interesting because I don't know if I put the story in the book, and I do this all the time. I tell people that I probably did give this advice for being kind to yourself. When you're grateful, it's actually an expression of kind to yourself and others, because that gratitude actually helps center you. For me, kindness is a win-win. Gratitude is a win-win. When I was stressed out about my life not going the way that I thought it was supposed to go and my career not going the way it was supposed to go, I had a friend tell me, this was years ago, Adrienne, you just need to take a breath. And I thought, what? You don't tell me to just take a breath. This is serious. But I said, okay, fine, I'll take a breath. And so I remember sitting in my car with my hands on the steering wheel, frustrated. And I just took 3 really deep breaths. And as I was taking those breaths, I was realizing, oh my goodness, if I'm not grateful for this breath, then how can I be grateful for the things I get to do while I'm still breathing? And I thought, so for me, kindness is like that. If we can't be kind in the little, what looks like little things, if we can't make a call just because and show somebody that appreciation, showing appreciation is a sign of gratitude. Saying, I don't need anything from you. I'm not trying to make a sale. Calling our customers and saying, I'm just thinking about you. I know life has been a little bit different in 2020. I just want to check on you and say, hi, how are you? Being kind enough to Venmo somebody coffee. I can't see you right now, but I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for this relationship. I'm thinking about you. Here's $10. Go buy your next coffee. It's on me. Or get them lunch from Postmates or Uber Eats or something like that because you can't see them physically. That sign of appreciation allows you to be more conscious and intentional when it comes to the bigger things in life. And I think that with gratitude and appreciation, we actually put on these goggles of kindness because we're so situationally aware. I talk about how nice and kind are different because being nice is a hello in the hallway. It's polite, but being kind is situationally aware. And when you're grateful, you're actually more aware of the people and the opportunities that you could step into that are just what you're looking for.
Yeah, no, that's a wonderful observation. And I was going to ask you about the difference between nice and kind because you do differentiate those in the book. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, nice is, very polite. If you look up the definition of it, it means exact, precise. It's somebody who dots their I's and crosses their T's. It's not a bad thing, but it's just we need to graduate to a level of kindness because kindness actually takes into account the whole person and is very, very aware. When you are noticing somebody on a Zoom call, it would be nice to say hello. It would be kind to say, hey, I noticed you looked a little down on the Zoom call. After the call is over, text them, email them and say, is there anything I can do for you? Is there anything you need? Do you want to talk about anything? Yeah, that's kind. You go a step beyond nice and you actually enter a space where you can truly connect with someone. Being nice usually doesn't allow for connection. It is nice to open the door for somebody. That's nice. I mean, especially if their hands are full. Let's just say that because some people don't want you to open the door for them. I know, but if you, it's true. Like there's some people like, no, I got it myself. It's fine. But if your hands are full, if somebody opens the door for you, that is very nice. If you continue the conversation and there's something that comes from it, there's a kindness in that. If you take 5 minutes and say, hey, where do you live? Oh, I'm here on the Upper West Side. Oh, really? So am I. Oh, that's great. Well, where do you walk your dog usually? Oh, I go to this park. You don't, it's not about not being nice. It's about graduating to kindness. It's about allowing the moment to breathe. I tell people, I'm like, when you schedule your meetings, schedule enough time in between them so that if you do need to make a call or follow up with somebody or notice someone, you have time without being so busy that all you're doing is to-do items. It's nice when you get things done. It's kind when you truly connect.
Yeah, there's a deeper level of selflessness and giving to kindness more so than
true.
niceness. Yeah. I'm talking to Adrienne Bankert. Her book is Your Hidden Superpower, the kindness that makes you unbeatable at work and connects you with anyone. Another thing that I was reminded of when I was reading Your Hidden Superpower is there was once a line on an episode of Shark Tank in which Robert Herjavec, who is considered the nice shark or the kind shark, he said to the guy pitching to them, "Don't mistake my kindness for weakness." Is there a common misperception of kindness as weakness, and how can we move beyond that perception?
Absolutely. It's one of the biggest lies in our culture. I have people tell me that they've been told they're too nice or too kind for the business that they're in, for the industry that they're in. I think that part of the reason why is because we confuse nice and kind. Because I really do think you can be too nice, and I talk about that in the book. When you're too nice, you're really concerned about people pleasing. You're trying to fight for acceptance. You're trying to avoid conflict. But that doesn't work because eventually some things have to be confronted. And when you are kind, you actually are more aware of each person. There's a story I tell about a woman, she used to mentor me, and she would say, Adrienne, know your players. Know your players. There are certain people that you are going to deal with where you know that they're not going to be open to the things that you say or your ideas or your thought process. It would be kind of you not to say anything. It would be kind of you not to enter into what is going to eventually be a conflict, because what would be the point? So you have a heightened awareness of when it's right to speak and when it's right not to speak.
Okay.
There are times to me, kindness is actually more like a tailor-made approach to life. It's not about doing the same thing cookie cutter.
Yeah. You
start off with things that are general, like, buying people lunch or buying somebody coffee in line at the drive-through behind you. That's where you start. But eventually, kindness becomes extremely innovative. During the time of isolation, being safer at home in New York, you couldn't do the same things you would do to be kind to people. Nobody was smiling at each other. Even behind the mask, there was evidence of people averting their eyes and avoiding people and crossing the street to avoid, so that you weren't within 6 feet of the people that were walking towards you. And so it distanced us from each other. And I think that it was up to me, and I read my own book, to get creative. That's where the power lies. It lies in innovation and it lies in positioning. But I tell people, don't think that kindness is always smiling and telling you how wonderful you are. It varies. And kindness sometimes doesn't say a word, and sometimes kindness is honest. One part of the story I tell about mentoring, mentors aren't always nice. Really good mentors, they're going to tell you something you don't want to hear. And it's up to us to be coachable and teachable, but they might be more direct than we like. I've had that happen to me many times. They might say it in a way that gets under my skin, but I have to decide, what am I going to do with that? Am I going to grow from this moment, or am I going to get offended? And so for me, it's kind for somebody to care enough to tell you the truth. It just might not be something you want to hear. And so that's why I say, it can be powerful, and it's always unique to the individual and to the situation.
Yeah, you may not want to hear it, but you need to hear it. So that's one thing you just have to keep in mind.
Right.
One of the things, the themes that revolve around the work of the Christophers is this motto: it's better to light one candle than to curse the darkness. When you hit times of darkness in your life, how do you light that metaphorical candle to move toward a brighter future? Well,
the thing is, you take the focus off yourself. We talked about gratitude. A big part of kindness is also generosity. And when I have been in my darkest moments of personal crisis, in the darkest moments of this now global crisis that we're in, I actually said, okay, I don't know how to fix my problem. I don't know what to do for me, but I know that I've been equipped by the people, the mentors, the teachers, the coaches, the parents, different loved ones who've invested in me, that I have somebody's answer. So rather than get stifled by my own stuff, and get boxed in by my own confusion or frustration or feelings. I'm going to look out there and I'm going to seek out people that I can actually invest in and who I can actually give to. And whenever I did that, I tell people all the time, when you decide to make someone else's problem yours and help solve their need, it provides a life preserver or a rescue for you.
Yeah.
There's an answer on the other end of the rope that you throw to someone else. Yeah. And I talk about it, in terms of giving consistently. When you're kind consistently, it has a muscle memory to it.
That's great observation.
And it's like you start to get used to that same process of giving to others, and it actually ties you to the mast of your ship, so it prevents you from going overboard. So the darkness is going to happen, right? It's just part of life. But lighting your candle actually includes lighting someone else's.
Wow, that is a beautiful observation. In our final 30 seconds, what are your hopes for people who read your Hidden Superpower?
I would hope that they know who they are. If you know who you are and you have a strong sense of identity, you can conquer anything, and that truly makes you unbeatable.
Beautifully said. I'm Tony Rossi. You're listening to Christopher Close-Up. I've been talking to Adrienne Bankert. You'll know her from ABC News, Good Morning America, Nightline, and all those shows. But now she is also a published author, and her book is called Your Hidden Superpower, the kindness that makes you unbeatable at work and connects you with anyone. I think reading this book is not only going to inspire people to practice kindness more, it's going to help us integrate kindness into our hearts, minds, and souls, and like I said earlier, to turn us into the people God intends us to be. So the website is yourhiddensuperpower.com. The book is available wherever books are sold. And Adrienne, thanks so much for writing the book and for sharing your insights with us today.
Thank you, Tony. It's been wonderful to meet you.
Now, before we end today's show, here's a message the Christophers would like to share with you.
Love in the face of hatred is the most transformative concept the world has ever known. Where hatred causes only destruction, love has the power to build bridges between people and restore trust. That's why the Christophers have prepared a news note called Where There Is Hatred, Let Me Sow Love. It's filled with stories and insights to help you better live out Jesus' call to love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. To request your free copy of Where There Is Hatred, Let Me Sow Love, send an email to radio@christophers.org or call our toll-free number at 1-888-298-4050. We look forward to hearing from you.
In closing, I want to thank all our listeners for tuning in today, and I encourage you to visit our website at christophers.org to learn more about the Christophers and to download free literature and podcasts. When you're there, you can also find links to our blog and our Facebook and Twitter pages. And if you have any questions or comments about the show, you can send an email to radio@christophers.org. Our engineer for today's show is Brian Bonifacio, and I'm Tony Rossi, your host. Thanks again for joining us, and remember that it's better to light one candle than to curse the darkness.